Hello friends, our subject today is the Tamron 28-75mm f2.8 Di3RXD. This is a mid-range zoom by Tamron for Sony E-mount cameras. That's f2.8 throughout the zoom range for under $1,000. Each of those characteristics combined make this lens quite intriguing. I do own the Sony G Master 24-70mm f2.8, which is a more expensive lens, over $1,000 more expensive. It is a solid lens. It's usually on my camera or in the bag that I have with me, but as has been happening recently, some of the newest and best third-party lenses like this Tamron have opened my eyes quite a bit on just how capable third-party lenses can be, and generally for less money also. Mirrorless mid-range f2.8 lenses tend to be smaller and lighter than their legacy DSLR counterparts. The Tamron is actually smaller and lighter among those mirrorless mid-range f2.8 zooms. The Tamron is 550 grams compared to the 886 grams of the Sony G Master 24-70, so 2/3 the weight and smaller and more maneuverable overall. In a single instance of picking up the camera, it doesn't feel much different, but multiply that by hundreds of shots or carrying it on an all-day excursion, and that difference truly does add up. 24-70 or 28-75 is a workhorse focal length. This is a lens that I would expect you to have on your camera much of the time, so those tangibles and some intangibles will make a difference. Here's something that I really like about the lens design. Look closely at the barrel. There are no buttons or switches on the lens. You control things like auto versus manual focus in camera. There's no optical stabilization, so no switch for that. So the result is clean industrial design. Who cares? You might. I like minimal, elegant design a lot. I think that extra function buttons and such on a lens can be very helpful, but if you don't find that you use them or you find that you accidentally bump them more than you'd like, you have your zoom ring with the manual focus ring for specific occasions, and you're good to go with a clean look. Intangibly speaking, it does not feel as robust as the spare no expense Sony G Master. That's a subjective feeling though, based on the materials and the weight. The zoom action on the Sony feels a little more damped, and it just feels a little more premium and tank-like overall. I mean, it should. The Sony is more than twice the price of the Tamron. It's hard to knock the Tamron though. They are very willingly going into the mid-range Sony market at a lower price. I don't expect it to feel exactly like the Sony, nor do I think that everyone needs the most robust lens out there. But let's talk about where I am super picky, images. We brought this lens here and there, not quite everywhere because we truly can't go to some of our favorite places right now, but like always, we do our best. I even took it on an overnight backpacking trip prior to the lockdown. The Tamron lens delivers on image quality. I didn't do any side-by-side comparisons with the Sony G Master, but having shot both lenses extensively, I can say that there were no situations where I feel that the Sony would have given me noticeably better results. You will want to note, especially if you're accustomed to 24-70 lenses, that the Tamron starts at 28mm, so not quite as wide, but it gives you 5mm more on the long end. I expect that if they went all the way out to 24mm in the design, that it would be a larger and potentially more expensive lens. I did not find this limiting, but as it is something to note, depending on your habits and your subject. I do also want to note that you get a 0.19 meter minimum focusing distance at the 28mm wide end. That really does introduce creative options at wide focal lengths, and I expect to experiment a little more with that. The RXD in the lens name means Rapid Extra Silent Stepping Drive. This is the new expectation for mirrorless. Give me that silent autofocus to make my run and gun videos great, keeping any camera noise out of the equation. And Tamron delivers on that. We've come a long way from noisy DSLR video with focus hunting in and out on even the most basic videos. Finally, Tamron states that this lens has moisture-resistant seals, both along the lens barrel and at the mount. Frankly, I had to read that twice because I was pleasantly surprised. At the price point, I thought that level of protection would be one of the first things to go. We're not strangers to the elements. I mean, I took this thing backpacking, and that's some solid peace of mind. Now, I do treat borrowed lenses like this one probably a little bit more carefully than I do my own gear, because I would hate to have to make an awkward phone call to any manufacturer about any unfortunate events. I'm all about taking my gear out in varied conditions, but my recommendation to all of you, of course, is to treat weather protection as insurance, not as something to push the limits on with any camera or lens. What do you all think? I know that we are very protective of our mid-range workhorse lenses, so seeing or even considering one that's a little bit different can raise some anxiety. I was certainly a little bit nervous, and I even second-guessed if I should also bring my G Master on that backpacking trip. In the end, this lens was quite a pleasant surprise overall. High-quality images and weather sealing, with the added benefits of being lighter weight and lower cost. Like I said, I love my Sony, and I do have to send this Tamron lens back, but I will say that I could shoot with this daily. I would enjoy the lightweight and the optical performance without a second thought. Let me know what you think down in the comments. But before you do, I have another Tamron lens that I have been running around with, this 20mm f2.8. I'll be sharing a review of it soon, so subscribe and click the bell to be notified when I share new videos like that one. And like this video if you found it helpful. Thank you for watching.